Hi, welcome to my live screen. Uh, so we are here to talk about an important topic about raising emotionally intelligent children. You see, so some children grow up smart, some grow up struggling in relationship, some grow up in different types of but all these children grow up, but some children still grow up understanding. Some children grow up understanding themselves, handling frustration, building up healthy relationship. And the difference between this is what is called emotional intelligence. So at Anagaya, welcome to my live stream. Where are you watching me from? Maybe you can type in the comment section so that I know where you're watching me from. Hello? So, thank you so much. So now, the difference between how all these children are being raised and the maturity they're being raised with is what we know as emotional intelligence. Okay, you're watching from Abakaliki. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You're very welcome. You're very welcome to this live stream. Yeah. So now we are going to talk about teaching our children raising our children, or raising emotionally intelligent kids, emotional intelligent children. Now, I will. Yes, you can subscribe. Yes, you can subscribe. Thank you so much. Thank you for your subscription. Yes. Thank you so much for your subscription. So now, before we continue, I would like you to type in the chat how old your child is, because as we progress, we'll be able to, look at different ways emotional intelligence affects our kids, So that is that. Now, we are going to start with the first one. What is emotional intelligence? Emotional intelligence is not about being soft. So, well, that's very nice. 9, 7, and 5. That's very beautiful. Thank you so much. So, let's proceed. Emotional intelligence is not about being soft. It is about being able to understand feelings, reactions, and relating well with others. That is all about emotional intelligence. Now, let's break this down simply. A child with emotional intelligence can express feelings without aggression. The child can calm down after frustration, and the child can understand others' feelings. So the child can understand others' feelings and can handle disappointment better. You see, so these are the work of emotional intelligence in children. So any child that is raised with this emotion, that is raised, and the child is emotional intelligent, can express all these things. Now, I will like us to, to mention that most of the behavioral problem that we see in children is not stubbornness. Yes, but in our children is just because they have not acquired the emotional skills that they need, for them to be able to handle some situations or some conditions in their life. So that's about emotional intelligence. And now we want to, to look at how we can inculcate this emotional intelligence in our children, you see. And then the very method that parents use to inculcate this emotional intelligence is what we know as emotional teaching. Now, emotional coaching is one of the most powerful parenting tools, and it is very simple. It's very, very simple. So how simple is it? We have 5 basic steps of this uh, emotional coaching. And the very first step is noticing the emotion. Noticing the emotion. That is, when a child is upset, so instead of reacting immediately, you need to observe. Observe first and notice what is actually the emotion the child is into at that particular moment. You see, that is the first, the best, the first step in this emotional coaching. Understand condition is the first one. And how do you do that? Observe first. Example, I see you are frustrated. You see, you notice, because due to one action or the other the child is portraying, and it can either be frustration, it can either be anger, it can either be hungry, it can either be disappointment, it can be anything. You see, so the very first step in this emotional coaching is what? Understanding the emotion. And the understanding the emotion, the second step will be connecting before correction. That is the next step. Connecting before correction. Now, what do we mean by that? Before you start correcting a child's bad behavior, you need to, because after identifying or being noticing the child's emotional disposition at that very particular moment, then you need to make this child to understand you, or to feel, just make the child to be in the same feeling levels with you. From there, you can now say something like, I understand you are angry, I understand you are hungry, I understand you are confused, I understand. Just express, make sure you express the type of, make sure you express and teach this child that you understand the condition he or she is in emotionally. Then from then, we go over to the next one, which is naming the emotion. Now, you can understand with me that identifying a problem is more of half solving the problem. You see, before you solve a problem, you first need to identify the problem. And when you identify the problem, you mention the problem, and that is the best way of solving the problem. Okay. Okay. We go on. Let me add the subscription something sticker. So we go on, please. And we have mentioned that naming the feelings is the next step of this emotional intelligence. Naming the feelings. You see, just like when you help a child to name this emotion, you help this child to identify, or you help this child to identify the means of correcting the emotion. You see, children can easily get control emotions that they understand. You see, they can easily control emotion that they understand. You see. Coconut is quite oh. So sorry for my staying out. I have to attend to one or two things, and now I think I am back. So what are we talking about here? We are saying that helping to name emotion is a very, very important step in this emotional intelligence journey. You see, because just like I mentioned here that knowing a problem is half solving a problem. A problem known is a problem half solved. You see, any problem known is a problem half solved. Therefore, in the same way, when a child is able to identify the emotion or knows the emotion, then that child can easily control such emotion. You see, just like when a child notices that he or she is angry, you can bet me that that child can easily control the anger. When a child notices that he or she is hungry, that child can easily know the solution to the hunger. You see? And when a child notices that he or she is disappointed, or exhausted, the child will easily know the solution to the disappointment, or, that is that. Now, you are angry because you did not play with your friends. That is something like letting this child understand that he is angry because he did not play with his because he did not play with his friend. So you can bet me that once a child notices that the source of his anger is because of not playing with a friend, you can bet me that the child can easily know the necessary step he or she should take. Understand? So that is that. Now, set limits is another important tool that is used in controlling emotion. Set limits calmly. You see? Now, understanding the emotion does not solve the problem. You see? Because understanding emotion is not the same thing by accepting bad behavior. You see? Because when you notice that a child, when a child commits any bad behavior because of his emotion, that is a different thing, and that also should be communicated to the child that it is okay to feel angry, yes, but it is not okay to hit your friend. It is okay to feel angry, but it is not okay to beat your brother or to hit your brother. You see, that is also important. In the same way as it's important for the child to know his or her emotions, it is also important for the child to know the action that is necessary for he or she to carry out. Understand? Family is another important step. Is supposed to carry out. Understand? So now, what do we do next time? We should understand discipline teaches what should not be done. You see, because this is we want to look at the difference here between discipline and emotional intelligence or emotional coaching. You see, we only discipline a child is only disciplined when the child did something that is wrong. You see, that is only the time a child can be disciplined. You see, but in the other way around, emotional coaching teaches a child what to do and then how to do it. You see, so that one is emotional coaching. Understand? So now we we have to, you know, whenever you come across this my live stream, or if you are my live stream now, I would like you to put in which of these steps you feel hardest for you as a parent. That is, from all these steps that we have mentioned here in emotional steps on this emotional intelligence, which is noticing the emotion and then connecting before correcting and helping the child to name the emotion, setting limits calmly. So, which of these four steps is the hardest for you to identify or for you to apply in emotional coaching? Because is a continuous, something, you see, and then it is a continuity. Therefore, we need to be rubbing mind together. You see, now pause and engage. Sorry, daily habits that build emotional intelligence. Daily habits that build emotional intelligence. Now, emotional intelligence is not a one day thing. It is not, and it is done. That is not emotional intelligence. Something that we apply day in and then day out. And it is built on small daily habits, daily habits that sometimes we don't feel is important, but it is build these children emotionally, step by step. Now, let me start with the first step. The first step on this daily habits in emotional coaching is daily check-in acts. Daily check-in acts. Now, always check in with your children. What is the best part of your day? What was the hardest part of your day? These simple questions create emotional awareness. It creates emotional awareness, you see, and it makes you to become fully part of your children's activity. These daily check-ins, understand how they feel, or how, in their different activities, how the emotional toys, pleasant emotion, and the other part of the emotions. So these are different types of emotional activity. Therefore, you should know, understand, and be aware of your child's emotional feelings for the day. Therefore, this daily check-in is the number one, the first one. And then the second one is model emotional expression. You see, help children to understand how to express the emotion. And you can believe you me that children always, they always copy what they see. You see? So something like, I feel stressed today, so I took a short walk to calm down. I feel stressed today, I took a short walk to calm down. This is emotional way of calming down. Therefore, help the children to understand that this is a way to model emotional, this is a way to express their emotions, to calm their situations and conditions, and bring their conditions under control. Therefore, model emotional, this teaches children emotional regulations. It teaches children how to regulate their emotions naturally. You see, naturally. Now, don't rush emotions is number three. Number three on this our daily habit practice. You see, the number three is never you rush emotions. Now, some parents will want to, rush to calm a child from crying. Now, rushing to calm a child from crying does not solve the emotional problem. Emotions is never the issue, and it is not never enemy. It's not the child's enemy. You see, that is why that is why we talk about, you know letting letting your children to express the emotion instead of bottling up emotion. You see, it is a wrong act, a wrong type of it's a wrong type of emotional, let it calm. It's a wrong step. Instead, let this child identify the emotion, and let their child be aware of the emotion that is the emotional stress he or she is going through. You see, and then and let this child be calm before you talk of any application of emotional control. I don't know whether this is very clear, because rushing to calm the emotion can result in explosion. And explosion is something that is not very pleasant. Explosion of emotion is not pleasant for any person, not for the children and not for the adults. Rush to calm down emotion. Instead, be present. You see, let the child be aware of you being present with him or her during this emotional outburst. And let the child be aware that you feel and understand he his or her emotional condition. And let the child be aware that you are for him or her, that you are on his side. This child calm down before you can do anything. Either you want to talk to the child, or you want to talk to the child, or you want to teach the child, or you want to give boundary or anything. Let the child calm down first, so that clear mind that he, you see, when the child is on a clear mind, so that he can understand what you are saying, that is when you can apply any remedy. You see. So now, number 4 is teaching calming skills. These are one of the, you know, these are one of the necessary, small daily activity that are important in emotional coaching. You see, teaching calming skills. Now, what do we mean? What do we mean by calming skills? Calming skills are just different ways that the child can be able to control or bring the emotion under control. Now, we have skills like deep breathing. You see, so some people, teaches this breathing of, breathe out, in, out, in, out. So this is a nice process of calming emotions. It's a nice process of calming emotions. So if one is seriously enraged, if one is seriously under a rage, and any impulsive activity or any activity that can be dangerous within that moment, out, in, out, that person will bring his emotion under control, and we resist any type of hard or injurious or a decision that he will live to regret later. So that's one of the calming skills. Take deep breathing. Now we have another one, taking a break. We have another one, taking a break. In any condition that that makes this child's emotion to rise, either you are he or she is with friends, and then they got annoyed, something that makes his emotion to rise, or may want him to do one or two things that will be regrettable. I think one of the best decisions to make at that time is just to take a break. You can walk away from that very particular place. So this is a teaching skills, and this should be taught to the children. The parents can take time to make the children to understand these steps. Walking away from a situation or a condition, or any 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 type of any type of place that places the emotions high. You see, walk away is a deep calming skills. Or taking a break. Now we have counting slowly. Another slowing skill is what? Counting slowly. You can begin to count 1 to 100, or any amount you can count yourself, that will lead the child to bring emotion under control, that will lead the child not to do anything that is regrettable. You see, that is bringing the emotions under control, doing counting slowly is one of these calming process. Understand? Now, I think we have mentioned walking away as one of these calming process. And now we have to mention that this is not just a childhood skills. You see, though we are teaching children, these are being taught to children as a means of uh, emotional intelligent coaching or emotional coaching. You are teaching children but this is not meant to be a childhood skill. This is meant to be a life skill. It is meant to be something the child is going to live with. The child is going to grow up with. You see, because here we are talking about when different ways that children grow up with. You see, we mentioned of children growing up being only smart, but cannot manage the emotion, cannot control the emotion, cannot bring the emotion under control, but due to their upbringing, they are smart. You see, and we're talking of children, you know, that that are brought up under different conditions. But we are stressing about children that are brought up, with life skill that make them, able to control their emotion, you know. So this is the one we are hinting about here. Growing up able to control emotion, and we have also mentioned the importances of this because it helps the children to have good relationship. You see, it helps the children to have good relationship. It's how relationship we are talking about here is not only with spouses, but even with friends, with colleagues at work, with friends at school, with within the society. You see, within the society, all this, when you look around, you see malformed, you know, different malformed behavior being thrown around, and it's because of lack of emotional intelligence. It's because of lack of possessing these emotional skills that help, that need to be inculcated in one as the child is growing up. You see, so these are the importance of this emotional intelligence we are talking about. Now, the next step we are talking about is praising emotional skills instead of good boy. You see, it is not a bad thing to praise a child, but it is more better to praise efforts. Praise efforts of these children. Praise the effort of they make in controlling the emotions. And when you praise efforts, more effort can be applied into the same condition. Understand? So instead of good boy, now why not say I like how you stayed calm. I like how you stayed calm. Now, it is not an easy thing to see a child staying calm under provocation. You see? But a child that has been taught to manage his or her emotional condition can stay calm under provocation. So, say something like, I like how you stayed calm. You see? so that the child will understand that being able to stay calm under provocation is an important skill. It's an important, is very, very important. Now, I like how you use your words. I like how you use your words. Believe you me, using of words or choosing words during provocation is another important skill. You see, skills that you can hardly see in adults. And let me make it clear that well brought up children can still possess or begin to learn these skills. You see, so teaching your children how to use their words matters. You see, I like how you use your words. You see, now we want to mention here that what you praises grows. Whatever you praise grows. So, as you are praising this emotional intelligence, you will see that the child will always grow. See? Now, which of these habits do you already practice at home? You see, I would like us to type that in the comment section. Any of these habits that we have mentioned here. Now, let me recap this habit. Daily check-ins. Daily check-in questions. Like questions like, what was the best part of your day? What was the hardest part of your day? That is us checking in on our children. And then model emotional expression, teaching children to copy, how to express their emotion. I feel stressed today, so I took a short walk to calm down, something like that. And then not rushing emotions, not rushing emotions, not not going fast to, not going fast to. Hello, you are welcome, please. You can type your name in the comment section, or you can say hi to me and subscribe, please. So, teaching skills calmly, praising emotional skills. Then, which of these do you think, or do you think you already apply, or you already apply in raising your, in raising your children? I would like you to put it in the comment section. So, now, as we proceed, the next step we want to touch here is helping kids to name their emotion. Helping kids to name their emotion. Now, one of the biggest emotional skills children need is vocabulary for their feelings. That is one of the biggest problem of children. Now, and that is why most of the times children don't have words for their emotions. They don't have words they can use to express their emotions. You see? So, what do? They use behaviors to express their emotions. So that's why sometimes when you see a child overwhelmed, you can see the child crying. You see? So when you see a child, under different conditions, instead they will communicate, and use their mouth to talk about, the condition they are in, you see them just crying. Now, a child can, a child that is frustrated can just be crying. Now, a child that is embarrassed may start crying. A child that is disappointed may also be crying. You see, even a child when he's feeling jealousy may also cry. Why? Because the child cannot express his or her emotions. They have no word for the emotions they are in or emotion that they are feeling. They don't have words for such emotions. The only word that they have is what? Cry. You see, the only word they have is just cry. Now, instead of a child crying like this, one of the ways we can help our children, in this emotional coaching and teaching emotional intelligence is to let them, make them to be able to name, to have vocabularies or words that they can use to name these emotions that they are feeling. You see, because just as we have mentioned before, that identification of these emotions help in controlling the emotion. You see, knowing these emotions helps in bringing the emotion under control. It helps in bringing the emotion under control. So, we need to help our children to identify the emotions they are in, or to be able to have names which will make them to have better understanding for this emotion. So it makes them to have better understanding for these emotions. And when they have better understanding, you can believe me that they can have better control of this emotion. Now, you can help them to name this emotion, and helping them to name this emotion will help them to reduce explosion. You see, it's helped them to reduce explosion. Do you understand? Because when children is able to identify the emotion, they can equally be able to bring the emotions under control. Understand? So now, let us look at practical method. Practical method using everyday moment. You look disappointed. You see, you look disappointed. You seem excited. You see, so how to understand the very particular condition, like, depending on the very particular emotions that you know the child is within that time, you can name that child's emotional condition to help the child to be able to master that emotional condition. You see, something like, judging by the emotional situation of the child, you can tell the child that you look disappointed. You see, judging by the emotional condition of the child, you can tell the child that this is excitement. Judging by the emotional condition of the child, you can tell the child that this is anger. Judging by the emotional condition, you can help the child to understand that this is hungry. You see, this is hungry. So that is that. That is that. That's emotional. Now, number two, we can use stories and cartoon. You can use stories and cartoon to help this child to name the emotions. Something like on their cartoon stories, you can help the child to, what do you think that this character is feeling? What do you think that this character is feeling? What do you think that this character is feeling? You see, especially if you know the name of the character, and the very particular emotional condition of the character, you can ask the child to identify what he think. Hello, you are welcome. You are welcome. Welcome to our life. Hey, yeah. So though I didn't let you to know, but I just read, and this is over 52 minutes. Maybe I'm about to end the live very soon, but let me just continue till I stop. Now, okay. Okay. Thank you. Mm. Okay, please double tap on your screen and then subscribe. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay. Okay, thank you. Let me continue. So you can use stories and cartoons, to ask children to identify the condition that the particular character is on. Let the child identify. Maybe based on the character, you can mention the name of the character and ask the child, what do you think? What do you think that this character is feeling now? Or how do you think that this character is feeling now? Do you think that this character is angry? Or do you think that this character is hungry? And do you think that this character, uh, you know, that will make these children to be able to understand and learn emotions. And understanding emotions, just like we have always said, understanding emotion is being able to control emotion. You see, because when the child identifies or understand the emotion that he or she is suffering at a particular time, that child will be able to know how to control it, and understand how to control it. So that is that. Now, you can use emotional chart. You can use emotional chart to teach children on how to understand the emotion. You see, now we have to mention here that emotions can never be good or bad. Yes, emotion can never be good or bad, but actions from these emotions becomes the good or the bad side of the emotion. Because a child being angry can never be a bad thing, but when uh, a child, an angry child hits his siblings, that becomes the bad aspect of it. You see, so you can we can also let our children understand emotional are fighting. You see, when the child is throwing tantrums, what we as parents is expected to do is first is to stay calm under normal conditions. Stay calm first. Understand the child's emotional condition. When you understand this child's emotional condition, to get the solution. You see? You will not be able to reason the child. So that is that. That is that. Now, I think we have done enough by this, and we're going to call it a day. On this live stream. So, and then we have to mention here that scam parents raises scammer children. Scam parents raises scammer children. And then being calm